Welcome back to another video. My name is Hunter, and today we're going to cover the power rankings of all 32 NFL teams after week one. What an exciting week it was. We had so many teams with dominating wins, important wins, and we had some teams with disappointing losses. Overall, combined for a great week one of the 2025 season. Before we get into it, like and subscribe. So much content coming now that the NFL season has started because there are so many games that have yet to happen. There is so much content that is yet to be created. So let's get into it. Number 32, what a disastrous week one it was for the Miami Dolphins. Offensively, Tua had three turnovers. Their offense could not get going, only scoring when the game was already 30-0. They ended up losing 33-8. And a big part of it was also on their defense that could not stop Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has not had games like this his entire career, and he scored on every single drive. Ultimately, disastrous week one for the Dolphins. They look to turn it around against the Patriots in week two. Number 31, I have the Carolina Panthers, a team that I'm very high on. I think Bryce Young is good, but this week he was just not good. Making bad passes, throwing interceptions, turning the ball over. Their defense could not stop the run. Travis Etienne ran all over the Panthers in this game. And the Panthers just did not have a great game at all. And they fall to 0-1 on the season in a very not so good fashion. Number 30, I have the New York Giants. Their offense was horrible. They have not scored in a season opener in 3 years. That is a crazy stat if you're a Giants fan. They already want to move on to Jackson Dart. They don't like what Russell Wilson's doing. He's not on the same page with his receivers. Under 50% completion percentage. And their defense, which is supposed to be their saving grace, did not do enough against the Commanders in this game. So ultimately, the Giants are down here at 30. Number 29, I have the Saints, a team that I thought was going to be the worst in the NFL this year. Put up a pretty good fight against the Arizona Cardinals. Just not being able to score on that final drive is why they lose. Spencer Rattler did not look too bad. Looked like he could provide some serviceable time this season while they search for their quarterback in the future. And the Saints overall, a pretty good game for what I think their standards will be this season. Number 28, I have the Cleveland Browns. They should have won the game. The Browns played better than the Bengals on both sides of the football, and they should have won this game. Myles Garrett kept getting to Joe Burrow, made his life hell for most of this game. Their offense, Joe Flacco played well. His interceptions were not on him. And ultimately, the Browns lose because of kicking mistakes. Their kicker missed an extra point and a field goal, and they lose this game by 1 point. And the Browns get off to an 0-1 start in a very Cleveland Browns way. Number 27, I have the Tennessee Titans, a team that I think is going to be pretty solid this year. And their receivers just kept dropping the football in this game. Cam Ward did all he could. Cam Ward looked really good for a rookie in his first game. And his receivers just did not help him out. And what was a very winnable game for the Titans, they end up falling to the Broncos. And they'll look to get even on the record in week two. Number 26, I have the Seahawks, who another team that just could not really score. Their offense could not really get going. And their defense also played an excellent game against the 49ers. They kept them in check. And when it matters, Sam Darnold fumbles the ball. And this Seahawks team has a lot to work on before facing the Steelers in week two. Number 25, I have the Chicago Bears, who played one drive of excellent offensive football, 3/4 of excellent defensive football, and it just all fell apart late. Their defense just let J.J. McCarthy throw and run all over them in the fourth quarter. Their offense was terrible after the first drive. Did not look typical of a Ben Johnson called offensive team. And that's the reason why the Bears are 0-1. And they have another divisional game against the Lions in week two, and they look to turn it around for sure. Number 24, I have the Patriots, another team that I think is going to be pretty good this season. Just did not do enough in the opener. Drake May looked pretty solid. He had one turnover that could have been prevented. Their defense looked pretty solid. Just they only scored 13 points in this game. Another team that could not really score. And that is something they're going to need to work on if they want to compete. Now to a team that did score. I have the New York Jets at 23. Justin Fields looked excellent. It was one of the best, if not the best, game of his career. Breece Hall was really good, running for over 100 yards. Just the defense was not enough. The Jets' main factor to their wins the past few seasons has been their excellent defense, and their defense was just not there in this one. The Jets could have been a lot better in this game defensively, and they're going to need to be a lot better when they play the Bills upcoming here in week 2. Number 22, I have the Dallas Cowboys. They looked really good in their opening game on Thursday. CeeDee Lamb had a few key drops late in the game that really prevented this team from having a chance to win. And other than that, he had over 100 receiving yards. He played pretty solid in that game. Dak looked really composed. Looks like he's going to have a good year to potentially put this Cowboys team in playoff contention. Defensively, they really kept the Eagles in check late in that game and gave the offense a chance to win it. Just a few key drops prevented them from winning the game, but a really good opener from the Dallas Cowboys. Another team that I thought was pretty good in their opener was the Atlanta Falcons. Michael Penix played an excellent game, highlighted by a heroic touchdown to tie the game late, and ultimately, it's a missed field goal by Younghoe Koo that forces his team to lose week 1, but this Falcons team looked good. They look ready for the season. Michael Penix looks like he's the guy, and if I was a Falcons fan, I wouldn't be too upset by their week 1 loss. Now to the worst team that won, in my opinion, I have the Arizona Cardinals. They played a Saints team and just did not look good. Kyler Murray was not really making the throws that he needed to make, and this defense was really the main reason why they won this game. Will Johnson, the rookie, looked excellent, and if I was the Cardinals, I would be looking for improvement going into week 2. Now I have the Houston Texans at 19. They could not score. This team just could not get going. Nico Collins did not get going. CJ Stroud did not get going. And this defense really kept them in the game. But the Texans are going to need to improve offensively if they want to get to the levels they have been in the past few seasons. And we just did not see that in the opener. Number 18, I have the Vegas Raiders. Geno Smith looked excellent in his Raiders debut, throwing for over 360 yards. Ashton Jeanty could have been a bit better, but he had a touchdown, and he's going to just get better from here. Their defense really made life hell for Drake May, and the Raiders got off to a really good start. They'll play the Chargers next Monday night in an effort to get to 2-0, which would be an excellent start for this Raiders team. Number 17, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars, who also looked really good. I mentioned Travis Etienne. He just dominated to the point they just traded Tank Bigsby. He's going to be the main guy in this backfield from now on. Trevor Lawrence looked pretty solid, making the throws he needed to make, and this defense played excellent in week 1. So the Jaguars, definitely a team that has gotten off to a good start in 2025. Another AFC South team with an excellent start to 2025 is the Indianapolis Colts with one of the better games we saw this weekend. Daniel Jones, they're calling him Indiana Jones in Indiana. He looked excellent in this game. Not a single drive gone to waste. They scored 33 points. Defensively, turnover after turnover. The Colts played a perfect football game against the Miami Dolphins. And let's see if they can continue it in week 2 against the Broncos. At number 15, I have the San Francisco 49ers. They did not play the perfect game, but they played the game that they needed to win. Their defense played pretty well. They have some offensive injuries. Looks like Brock Purdy and George Kittle suffered some type of injury. They might miss some time. But the 49ers got off to a 1-0 start. And that's key for them, especially in the division they're in. Winning a divisional game is just really important. And let's see if they can overcome the injuries and get to 2-0 with a win over the Saints this upcoming week. Number 14, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. They did not play good. They played one of their worst football games over the past few years. But the difference is they win this time. Whether it was last year where they were one play away so many times, they just could not win, and that's why they did not make the playoffs in the end. But to win a football game like this shows that this season might be different in Cincinnati. Their defense played well. They got 2 interceptions in this one, and Cincinnati looks to build off this and potentially get to 2-0 for the first time under Zach Taylor with a win over the Jaguars in Week 2. Pittsburgh Steelers, number 13. Aaron Rodgers back to MVP level form. 4 touchdowns in this game. Jalen Ramsey delivers a big hit to win the game late. All the new additions just combined for a great football game from Pittsburgh to win a Jets team that looked really good in that game. So the Steelers look to get to 2-0 with the win over the Seahawks in Week 2. Number 12, I have the Broncos. Not a perfect game by, I think, the standards they'll be at this season. But Bo Nix, he did not play the best, but definitely room for improvement there. Their defense showed why they were one of the best defenses in the league, really keeping that Titans offense in check. And the Broncos get off to a 1-0 start in 2025. Just outside the top 10, I have the Minnesota Vikings, who did not look good for most of that game. Their offense could not get going, and in the fourth quarter, some switch turned on, and J.J. McCarthy clutches up, gets them the win, gets them to 1-0, and what a big win it was for the Vikings to win over the Bears in a divisional game. They play the Falcons in Week 2, and will hope to get to 2-0 and start to rekindle some of that form they had in 2024. In the top 10, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 10. They looked pretty good. Emeka Egbuka is going to be a stud for that team. 2 touchdowns in the win. Baker Mayfield had his slow start, picked it up late when he needed to. The defense was making some key stops late, and the Buccaneers are reminding me very much of the team they have been for the past few years, just kind of ruling the NFC South and the NFC South in games that they need to, and getting off to a 1-0 start was key for this Tampa team. Number 9, I have the LA Rams, who did not play their best football game, but their defense played stellar against the Texans, and Matthew Stafford made the throws when needed to, and the Rams get off to 1-0. Puka was checked for a concussion. He came back, seems to be fine, and the Rams get to 1-0, get a jump start on the NFC West, and the Rams will look to repeat as champions this season. Number 8, I have the Detroit Lions, who fall to the Packers, and their offense was just shut down. Jahmyr Gibbs was taken out of the game. They had constant pressure. Their defense was not at its best, but showed up late in the game and kept the Lions somewhat in it until late. But the Lions definitely lots to work on to live up to that 15-2 hype they were a year ago. And that's why they're still in the top 10, but lots to work on for Detroit. Number 7, I have the Kansas City Chiefs, who start 0-1 and are right now last place in AFC West, which is crazy considering they've ruled this division for a decade plus at this point. But the Chiefs, they looked solid in this game. Mahomes really came on late, but not enough to beat the Chargers. And this divisional game can come to bite them late in the season, but for now, the Chiefs, they should be fine as long as they get over the lack of wide receiver depth thanks to the Xavier Worthy injury. They should be fine, but 0-1 start isn't so great for the Chiefs. They're at 7. Number 6, I have the Baltimore Ravens. I have them as the best team who lost. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers. That offense looked incredible. The question mark is their defense. I thought this defense was going to be one of the better teams or better units in the league, and they just blew the game late. It started with that Derrick Henry fumble, and then just poor coverage from that secondary. I know they dealt with injuries during this game, but just poor coverage led to them blowing this game. And in terms of potential playoff seeding, That is a game they did not want to blow. And the Ravens fall to 0-1. They should be fine. This is one of the most talented rosters in the league, but 0-1 start is not what you want to see out of Baltimore. Number 5, I have the LA Chargers. I'm on the Justin Herbert potential MVP train. He looked incredible in Brazil on Friday. Quentin Johnson, I don't know what happened. He could catch footballs now. He had 2 touchdowns in the win. The Chargers just played good football. Their offensive line was great. The defense was great. The Chargers were a team that I had missing the playoffs, and after 1 week, I'm already starting to regret that. They looked really good, and key divisional win for them. They start 1-0. They play the Raiders in another divisional game in week 2. We'll see where that goes, but the Chargers off to a great start. Number 4, I have the Washington Commanders, a team that I have going to the Super Bowl this season, and Jaden Daniels proved why he's one of the better quarterbacks in this league. Just play after play against the Giants to pick up the win. And the Commanders face a big test. They face the Packers, who are yet to come on this power rankings, but the Commanders look really good to start off the season. At number 3, I have the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending champions. They just played their game on Thursday, picking up the win over the Cowboys. The offense looked good. The defense looked pretty good once the second half got underway. The shaky start, but they picked it up. This young secondary is going to get even better. The main storyline for this team was Jalen Carter. He got ejected. Got to keep him in check. He's one of your better defensive players, but the Eagles are going to be fine. They're the defending champions for a reason, but I have them at number 3. I think there's 2 teams that played better than them this week. Number 2, I have the Green Bay Packers, who played a complete and perfect football game against the Detroit Lions on Sunday. The offense looked good. The offensive line gave Jordan Love so many times to throw, and Jordan Love made the throws he had to make. And the defense, that defensive line is insane, and the secondary was missing some pieces. And when they get those pieces, this defense is going to be potentially generational. That's how good they looked against the Lions. They took Jahmyr Gibbs completely out of the game, and this Packers team is looking very good. Number 1, I have the Buffalo Bills, and self-explanatory. Josh Allen is still the best player in the NFL. He showed it throwing for almost 400 yards, making some of the best plays we've seen him make in his career, and that was a statement win for the Bills. They look like the best team in football. I had them at number 1 in my power rankings when last season ended, and this time I have them at number 1 to begin the season, and they just look like the best team in football going into week 2. And that's going to do it for this video. If you disagree with any of my power rankings, let me know down below, and I will see you in the next video.